Bethany Manktelow here. Welcome to our Millwall fan show with some new voices, but the same focus. Just everything Millwall. Enjoy!
Welcome to the 2024-25 season of Millwall No One Likes Us Talking, our Millwall fan show. I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Myles, Thornton, Stan Godwin and Bethany Manktelow.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Evening, Myles.
Evening, Gary. Evening, everyone. You all right?
All good. Evening, Stan.
Yeah, evening.
Evening, Bethany.
Good evening, Gary.
Good evening. So, I'll start with you, Myles. Last Saturday wasn't our day, was it? What do you think went wrong, mate?
I don't know if I'm the only one, but I don't think we played that badly. We lost, yeah, but it was a very good Luton goal. I don't think they were miles better than us, in my opinion. I think if Coburn didn't go off injured so early, we might have got something from that game. But saying that, Langstaff was denied with a really good save that could have made the game a lot different.
Agreed, and people thought he missed that and blah 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 blah. But it was a world class save. The keeper did his job. It was going in the bottom corner, and he just got his toe to it, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did. Stan, Saturday also saw some injuries to Coburn and Cooper. Thankfully, Cooper won't be too long, and he's back after the QPR game. But Coburn, we hear, is 6 to 8 weeks. Does this give the opportunities for Langstaff, Harding to finally make a first-team regular place?
Well, yeah, as it's turned out, it probably wasn't meant to be that way, but it's likely to happen. I mean, the only thing I'm dreading now, right, because you've got Bradders out, ain't you? We've got the two other guys that we signed in, right? I mean, if Longstaff goes out there on Saturday and he gets injured and we're then told, oh, he's out for a month, I mean, how are we going to get on then, right? And I mean, I don't want to sound like a Jonah, but I have to say it would not surprise me if that happened. That seems to be our luck with injuries and transfers. Then we sign a bloke and then they come in and then, I'm not saying it's not their fault, like the guy from Liverpool now, he comes on for the last 15 minutes of the game. Not his fault. I thought we done quite well considering he was on there. And then all of a sudden today, he's going to be out for about 4 months with some injury. And you think, I mean, I have to say this, I do wonder at times what goes on at these medicals. Because, these, if you think about it, footballers today, or sportsmen in general, but in our case, footballers, right, they are finely tuned, aren't they? Right, and surely if they think there's something suspect, it would show up.
Does make you ask the question. Bethany, as we're talking about, it's been a bit of an up and down start to the season. What do you think has caused this with the Lions? Do you think we will finally get a positive run together in the next couple of weeks?
It has, but I feel like historically we always have an up and down start to the season, and then we just seem to find our feet sort of in November time. I don't know if it's because we've had a lot of new players in, there's been quite a few changes that are being made, and they're just sort of trying to gel as a team, trying to figure out what works. But I feel like I say this every year, that we always have a rough start and then we get going again. So I'm not too pessimistic about it. I think we will find our feet eventually and hopefully get us on another good run.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I think the new lad Ivanovic, I think, will finally get a run out on Saturday. And you never know, he could stick to 2 away on Saturday for us. You never know. And get us a result against QPR. Notoriously a bit of a bogey ground for us. I'm sticking out there now because if you don't say these things, they will come and bite us on the bum. But fingers crossed. We'll take a break there and listen to our sponsors, G&M Motors.
Hi, this is Jess Tuffield from G&M Motors. Operating from a modern and purpose-built facility in Milton Road, Gravesend, G&M Motors offers a complete range of new Honda cars and services. As well as new Hondas, we have an extensive range of used cars, including ex-Motability cars from a variety of manufacturers. Specialising in new Honda cars, G&M Motors has been retailing quality new and used vehicles to the people of Kent and South East London for over 4 decades. We have been a Honda dealership since 1972 and are the country's longest serving supplier of this renowned mark. Conveniently sited just 2 miles from the A2, 10 miles from the M25 and Dartford Crossing, visitors to our showroom are assured a warm welcome from our experienced and friendly staff. Our facilities include an on-site workshop capable of providing full vehicle servicing and repairs, as well as an extensive parts department offering genuine Honda parts and accessories. The expertise of our skilled mechanics is not limited to just Hondas, but extends to most makes and models of motor vehicles. Whatever your motoring needs, visit us at G&M Motors today. The newly extended hours of our G&M headquarters means that you can contact us from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Saturdays. To contact us, call us today on 01474 365 026.
Thank you, Jess. Debbie Julian's here. Don't forget to call Jess on 01474 813562. G&M Motors have been dear friends with the Julians family for over 4 decades now. From my dad Lenny to me, Debbie, Lions together.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Myles, Thornton, Stan Godwin and Bethany Manktelow. Many thanks to our sponsors, G&M Motors. Why not check the Hondas out and see what else they have on their Gravesend site? Our first guest is an ex-Millwall player from the 90s. He was a local boy being born in Greenwich. He had 46 starts for the Lions, with a further 41 appearances coming from the bench. After he left the Lions, he joined Welling United, where he hung up his boots and moved into management within the non-league. He had spells in charge of Hastings United and Tunbridge United. This gentleman is now the managing director of a scaffolding company, and his daughter also plays for Dartford Women and recently played against the Lionesses. Welcome to the show, Tony Dolby.
Good evening.
All right, Tony.
Evening, Tony.
Evening, guys.
Hi.
Hi, Tony. Right, before you chat with the team, I'm going to have the honour of asking you how your journey into the Millwall first team came about, Tony.
Well, actually, I was playing at the Old Den for South London against West London in some cup final, I think it was, and the Millwall scout Joe Davis come up to me after the game, after a good performance and a good win from the South London boys, and just invited me down to training. I think I was 12 at the time, and that's how it kind of begun. Then went on to play for the year-on-year schoolboys. Leading into sort of like when school finished, it was a case of am I going to get offered an apprenticeship, which was back then a YTS scheme, which I did, and then obviously won the FA Youth Cup in the first year of YTS, and got a professional contract at the end of the first year actually, and that's how it began, and that's how it sort of like escalated into the first team as far as the introduction to Millwall was concerned.
Excellent. Well, I'll hand you over to Myles, who's going to actually ask you a question about the Old Den.
Go on, Myles.
Hello, Tony. Lovely to speak with you, mate. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was one of the lucky ones. But you was one of the lucky ones to play at the Old Den and the New Den. What was it like to play at the Old Den?
Oh, the Old Den was fantastic. It really was. It really was a special place. I grew up round the corner from the Old Den, and the New Den, obviously, just on the Old Kent Road on the Tustin Estate there, and it was. I used to go there well before I signed as well, and then obviously when I signed, it was such a fantastic place, all close knit. The tunnel was a brilliant place to be before kick-off when you could hear the crowd, and it was a very intimidating place, and opposition teams certainly didn't enjoy coming to the Old Den. And the team at the time, we made it very difficult and always had a very good home record because of it.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Bethany.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So, during your time at Millwall, you played with some great Millwall players such as Casey Keller, Keith Stephen, Andy Roberts, but who stood out for you?
We were a very good team back then. Malcolm Allen was very good. He was quite a unique player. He played in behind the front two. He was a very intelligent footballer, and he made us click where we used to play a diamond formation back in the in the old at the old Den the last couple of seasons there. He was a very good player. But we had Pat Vanden Hauwe was in the back four with Keith Stevens and Kenny Cunningham, Ian Dawes, Colin Cooper. We had some really good players. I still speak to Andy Roberts now. We were kind of like good pals, and we lived together for a little while as well. And he was a fantastic player and went on to, albeit play for a couple of other London clubs. But he was a very good player. We had John Goodman, who was up front, a good player with Chris Armstrong. Jamie Morley come in just sort of like he kind of took over my place up front, and I ended up playing more in midfield and at the back when Jamie Morley came. But I would say skill-wise and sort of like certainly having an effect on the team and the match itself was Malcolm Allen was probably stood out for me.
I always remember him in the was it the Sheffield Wednesday game when did he score a hat trick that day? We were 2-0 down and we won 4-2. Then we played him in the cup the week after and it was 4-4. Am I right in saying that?
I can't remember that, to be honest, mate. I mean, Malcolm, he had a good goal-scoring record, Malcolm, and he knew where the goal was. His finishing was exemplary.
Was he a Welsh international as well?
He was, yeah, and he was actually a very, very good coach. He was coaching at Stevenage. He did coaching at Watford as well. He was actually a very good coach afterwards.
Ah, excellent. Stan, over to you, mate.
Yeah, hi, Tony. Unfortunately, at the end of the 96-97 season, you left the Lions. What was the reasons for your departure?
I mean, I was still quite, well, I wasn't really young. I think I was 25, 26. And, well, I come to the end of my 5-year contract, and it coincided with, do you remember John Docherty come back as manager, temporary manager? And I was playing in the first team. I think I played like 35. I was involved in 35 games that last season. And then John Docherty got sacked, and we didn't actually have a manager, and the club was in administration. And I don't know, I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I got a letter from the club just saying that we're not going to be retaining contracts of players. And it wasn't anything from like any manager or member of staff in that way. It was like a club statement thing. But, I mean, it was quite sort of like surreal, really. They didn't have a manager in charge, yet I wasn't having my contract renewed. I mean, in hindsight, I thought about this a few times over the years. I probably should have just turned up at training on the first day back and just sort of like and basically trialled again, really. But I think Billy Bonds took over on that on the season after. So I think he started off as manager. But that was how it went about. It was really tricky. I mean, John Docherty, I think Jimmy Nicholl actually was the manager during the season, and that Millwall actually refused or turned down an offer from. I think it was Mansfield or Chesterfield, or it might even have been both of them, but they actually turned down like a monetary offer for me, saying that I was part of their plans. And that would have been under that management regime. But as it turned out, when Jimmy Nicholl got the sack and then John Docherty come in temporarily, and like I say, I was still playing, and then John Docherty left, and then there was kind of like nobody to sort of like say we want to retain Tony, if you like. And I think it was a bit mystifying, really. I hadn't really been at any other clubs, so I didn't really know the procedure back then. Whereas a local lad come through the ranks, that I didn't really have any kind of knowledge or insight into how it should be. So yeah, it was a bit upsetting to say the least for me, because I only ever wanted to play for Millwall.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just one thing. I was listening to what you were saying when you was asked about what your experience was like at the old Den in terms of atmosphere and all that sort of thing, right? I mean, I have to say, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with what your analysis of it was. The only thing I would say is that, see, I used to go up to the Den regular up until the 60s, and then, you know, I started work, and then I was playing football on a Saturday and all this sort of stuff. So I never got to go as much. And then I worked on the underground, so that was another nightmare to try and get there. But on the odd occasion I did get to Millwall, the atmosphere there was good, but it was never quite, in my opinion, was never quite the same as what it was when I was going in the 60s. Now, I'm assuming that when you was a kid, you was there as in the 60s as well. Would you concur with that?
I was only born in 74.
Oh, sorry.
You threw him under a bus there, mate.
Well, that's nice of that then, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, don't get me wrong. I mean, when the crowd was, I mean, we didn't have full houses all the time. I mean, I'm referring to sort of like big games and also sort of like when we're a bit more successful in sort of like what was the old First Division and Second Division. I mean, it could generate a great atmosphere. I mean, we had like Tuesday nights at home with 3,000-4,000 people there sometimes, and it wasn't much of an atmosphere. But generally speaking, it wasn't a pleasant place to come for the opposition, but I loved it. So, I mean, and that's maybe I was a local lad and I knew what it was all about. But and even sort of like some of the Millwall players that have come from other clubs and that probably didn't have the same feeling as what I did. I just thought it was great all the time. But you definitely got a feeling from the crowd that they were on your side, and they were definitely like a 12th man at times. And I think the home record over the years shows exactly that.
Oh yeah, no. As I say, it's always been the case. I mean, I can remember. I mean, before you were born, that was. But when we was on that unbeaten run, I mean, if we was playing in a game and all of a sudden we was a goal down. All of a sudden the crowd sort of steps up 2 or 3 gears, and it normally had the desired effect, So no, I mean, all what's said about the atmosphere at the Den and all the rest of it, I mean, that's legendary, but it happens to be a state of fact and not some myth. But well, that's good, yeah. What do you think of the new Den? Have you been down here and seen it? And what?
I mean, I was actually lucky enough to play in the last ever game at the old Den and the first ever game at the new Den.
Right.
And the new Den, obviously, it was really, really surreal, actually, because the first game of the new Den in the league, we actually lost 4-1 to Southend live on TV. Barry Fry was the manager of Southend, but we actually went the rest of the season unbeaten, I believe, which was crazy. But, I mean, it was very different, and obviously back then it was very modern. It wasn't sort of like you didn't associate that stadium with sort of like Millwall and the teams gone by. But, I mean, it's progress, isn't it? We were never going to be sitting in the old Den for that many, like now sort of thing. So we had to move with the times. Yeah, I like the new Den. I think it's a nice stadium. It sort of like befits Millwall in the sense of sort of like capacity wise. I mean, if you had too many more, it would feel like it was empty a lot of the time, and if you had 2 less, then you wouldn't be able to be as sort of like big and glamorous for what it was back then. So yeah, I mean, I like the new Den, and I think it's a good stadium. I mean, what have we been going now? God, Jesus, it's about like
31 years.
Yeah, is it 31? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it not? Was it 92, 93? Was it?
Yeah. So last year was the 30 years, and this year is 31.
Oh yeah. I mean that's gone by. So I mean, teams obviously get used to coming down, and it wasn't as intimidating for the opposition at the new place. But it also gave us a better sort of like stage to perform on as well. It brought some publicity to the club, and it was still a very nice stadium, and the new dressing rooms, as you can imagine, it was very different at the old Den. Like the actual facilities were not the greatest at the old Den, and then they were very good at the new Den. So yeah, I think it's all like it was necessary. I mean, it would have been nice to stay at the old Den for a few more years, like for me, because I loved it so much. But moving with the times and keeping up with the Joneses, if you like, because we were like a second or a first division or championship team back then, weren't we? So we needed to sort of like act like it, and that stadium brought that effect.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, I think we're getting to a point now, or we're not too far away from it, that if you look at the average age profile of people that are going into the Den, you've probably got more of them going in there now and have only ever known the ground that we're at physically. You know what I mean? They've never seen a game at the old Den. I suspect a majority of them now are not far short of it, because it just, 30 years it takes from doing, doesn't it? And it's flown by.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are a lot of youngsters that go, but there's obviously those hardcore fans that are just going to go forever, and have seen sort of like 60s, 70s, 80s, even like the 90s where we were in the old den, and the 2000s up to now. I mean, there will be some, but you're right. There must be an awful large percentage of people that would never have experienced the old den. Sort of like unlucky for them, but like you say, they know no different. So
yeah, one of them is about to ask you a question, Tony.
Tony, it's me again, Myles. It's me again, Tony. I recently accompanied Jeff Burnige at Prince's Park to watch Dartford women versus Millwall Lionesses, and I saw your daughter already playing for Dartford. Do you think she's got a promising career ahead of her, and do you think we could see her playing in Millwall colours one day?
Yeah, Jeff did try to recruit her actually a couple of years ago, because I've seen Jeff a few times over the years, and she was captain of the London City Lionesses under-18s team last season, and she went through the London City Lionesses, but she did actually play for Millwall Lionesses when they were and then Millwall Lionesses turned into London City Lionesses years later. So she actually, although she was a London City Lionesses, she still was. It was, in my mind, it was still the Millwall team of old, because it was. And then obviously Millwall disassociated with the men's club, and then kind of like they got back now to being the Millwall Lionesses. But yeah, I personally, I think obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I think my daughter, she's got some fantastic attributes, and she's only young. This is her first season in women's football, and she's had a good start. She's still officially associated. She's still an under-21 for London City Lionesses, but they recognise that she needs senior football, and that's what Dartford are providing this year. So, I mean, she's set up to succeed. She's got a great appetite for football. She loves it, and it's up to her now. We've given her the platform. She has some really good training over the years, and hopefully she can shine as a woman.
Yeah, she looked really good. I believe she got an assist as well.
She did, yeah. She assisted the first goal. She was really pleased with that. I mean, she's got a soft spot for Millwall. Obviously, she loved playing for Millwall, knowing that was her dad's team as well, and that was really good. And it was a shame that they actually disbanded the Millwall Lionesses a few years ago. But yeah, she then went into athletics, and then sort of like COVID hit. And then when we come out the back of COVID, she decided that she wanted to go back playing football, and basically went and got straight back into the London City Lionesses team, and then obviously got this like the 2-year contract for the under 21s, and yeah, officially she's kind of like still there, but she's going to be at Dartford this season and hopefully playing in every game. They've got the FA Cup game this Sunday actually, playing Bromley, and that'll be her first venture into the FA Cup. So yeah, I mean, she gets all the support. I'm there obviously at every game, and I've been every training session over the years, and I'm hoping that she's going to enjoy it, because it's not easy. As much as it's a great life, it's still not easy, and I'm sure she's going to do all right.
Excellent. Over to you, Bethany.
Tony, I know you're still a keen follower of Millwall, so how do you think the Lions will fare this season?
Well, I'm very hopeful. I was before a ball was kicked, especially the way that we finished last year. I think we've assembled a really good squad. I was really surprised about the amount of goals we were scoring and conceding at the start of the year, because that's very unlike Millwall. But yeah, I think it bodes well that we can score goals, and I'm sure that we're going to shore up the defence. And I mean, anything in the top half is good for the Championship with a budget and a club like Millwall's. But obviously, we've got to be looking to push as much as we can to the playoffs, and hopefully another trip to Wembley, which we seem to be having quite a lot over the last sort of like few years.
Fingers crossed.
Stan, back to you, mate.
Yeah, Tony, just out of all the games you played at Millwall, what was the one match for you that you would say was your standout match?
For the first team, I mean, I would probably say that my debut was the standout match, simply because obviously it was like a dream fulfilled for me. I actually scored on my debut as well, and we beat Notts County, who were managed by Neil Warnock, We beat them 6-0, and it was a fantastic team performance as well. That probably stands out for many reasons. Winning the FA Youth Cup was a huge thing because not many players, full stop, can say that they've won the FA Youth Cup, and we did that. So the final there was a fantastic day as well. But definitely, I'd say that Notts County debut game was the one for me. And to top it off with a goal as well was amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. But Tony, just one last question for me, and I'm really intrigued about this one. So I think you're no longer a manager anywhere at the moment, are you?
I'm not, no.
No. So my question is correct then. How did you get into scaffolding, mate? How did that come about?
Well, funnily enough, I mean, it was. I've never really been one for the gym. I don't really like the gym. It bores me, to be honest. But I obviously need to keep up my strength. I don't mind running. I didn't mind running. But it was kind of like a scaffolding. A friend of mine owned a scaffolding company. And I used to basically, initially, I did it in the off-season to just to keep fit and keep strong because it is quite a taxing profession. And then it kind of grew a bit of legs from there. I ended up sort of like, after dipping in and out of it, I then ended up working over in the city for a blue chip company. And what happened is that when my kids were born, I kind of, when they got of age, I decided that I'm going to start my own company because I want to be there for my kids on their sports days, on their training. I want to do as much as I can with my kids. And I don't want to be one of these dads that miss out on a lot of their kids' stuff growing up. So I thought the best way for me to do that would be to start my own company. And because scaffolding was kind of like the only thing that I really knew that I could start, I was actually owed a few quid, and I took that in like materials. Like a friend of mine wanted to kind of finish with his company, and then I sort of like took on the lorry and some materials and stuff, and basically started like that. And it's gone from strength to strength. I mean, we've had year on year. I think I incorporated the company in 2012. So it's 12 June, I think, August actually. So it's just over 12 years now. And we've got quite considerable size. We've got quite a big management structure. I've got about 80, 90 guys that work for me.
Wow.
And we've got quite a big, successful company.
Fantastic, mate. That's brilliant to hear. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Prediction games back this season. I don't know if you've heard it in the past on the show. Didn't do it the last couple of years, but we've decided to bring it back to see how we get on. Up and down at the moment, I believe. But there's 3 games I'm going to ask you for a score on. First up, Millwall QPR.
Yeah,
what do you think would be a score? Actually, Tony, before you answer that, what's it like playing Loftus Road? That's another little tight ground as well, isn't it?
Yeah, they were always a tough side, actually, QPR. Even their youth teams were quite tough. I remember playing there once in the FA Cup 4th round or 5th round, actually. Les Ferdinand scored a header from outside the box. It was like an unbelievable thing to see. But that was an enjoyable ground to play at. It was like close-knit, very similar to Millwall. The old Pride Park at Derby, like those close grounds where there's not much room between the lines and the start of the stands. But it wasn't like an intimidating place or anything like that. It was just it was a compact ground. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't sort of like anything special one way or the other, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think that QPR they've flattered to deceive a little bit. I think that we're gonna go there and win 2-1.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll take that. And then Sunderland, Middlesbrough, a nice northeast derby up there.
Sunderland, Middlesbrough. Yeah, that's going to be a tight game. I'd probably say 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1. And Bristol City, Oxford United.
Yeah, Oxford have been surprising, actually, haven't they? But Bristol City at home, yeah, I think Bristol City will win that 1-0.
Lovely. Right. Noted. Tony, absolute pleasure. And I think we could have gone on for hours with Stan chatting there and myself, etc., and all the rest of the panel. But we'll say goodbye. We'll get you on before the end of the season, Tony, and see how things have fared by then.
Thanks very much for having me on, guys.
No problem. Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Well, we'll take a break there and listen to Sands United.
We know that some men can struggle to talk about how they're feeling after the death of a baby. We hope that by building trust and a common bond, by playing together as a team, many more will be able to break their silence about baby loss and help others to do the same. Sands United FC has already saved the lives of men left feeling like they had no one to turn to in their grief. Are you a father who has lost a child? Talk to Sands United. They will help. Contact them on sufclondon@gmail.com. That's sufclondon@gmail.com. They will help.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me, I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Myles, Thornton, Stan Godwin, and Bethany Manktelow. Sands United do a great job. Now let's hear from Ellis Barr.
Hello, Ellis here, and I'm glad to be back talking about Millwall. I know many have watched my videos, so you will all know that I don't wear splints as much anymore. Thanks for your support along the way. It is now time to hear what all the Millwall teams are up to. Come on, Millwall!
Paul Loding gave us an update on the Romans and Pride. Let's hear what he had to say.
Hi, it's Paul Loding at the Millwall Romans, just with a quick update. So both teams, Pride and Romans, back in action this weekend. Romans against Titans 2 Brewers. Titans 2 Brewers had a good start to the season. They're going to be a challenging opposition. And Pride are against Titans LGBT Heroes. Again, that's going to be a good game. We're both playing over in West London, 2 p.m. kickoff, and the pitch next to each other. So unfortunately, as both teams are away, we're going to miss the Lionesses game this Sunday. We just wanted to wish them all the best in their cup game, and it's a shame we couldn't have gone there to support. But we look forward to seeing the result and them getting through to the next round. Prediction-wise this week, QPR, Millwall. Millwall are going to start picking up some points. I'm going to say Millwall 1-0. Sunderland, Middlesbrough, I'm going to go 1-1. And Bristol City, Oxford, I'm going to say that's going to be 1-0 to Bristol City.
Okay, since the Sunderland and Bristol City scores are quite popular at the moment. Jeff then went over to the Lionesses and brought back a clip for us.
And you got the love on Maritime Radio. Millwall Lionesses season has not had the best of starts. On Sunday they faced Dartford women. Post-match there was a resignation, and during the week organisational changes took place. Jeff Burnige has more.
Millwall Lionesses were defeated 4-0 by Dartford women at Princess Park on Sunday. Manager Alex Russell had tendered his resignation during the week, but he only announced it to the team and social media after the game. His co-manager, Adam Rowland, had himself resigned 2 weeks ago. Dartford, for this game, had 3 players who had come through the Millwall Academy, including Ellie Dolby, daughter of Lions legend Tony, and she set up the first goal in the game with a cross from the right. They are indisputably a stronger setup than Millwall at the moment, but the Lionesses competed really well. There is special praise for young keeper Evie Thorne-Ford, one of 3 under-18 players in the Millwall team, the others being Billy Burgess and Clemmy Young. On Monday, there was an important announcement from the club in the form of new general manager Jason Vincent from the Millwall Community Trust. He has been conducting a review of all women's and girls football under the Millwall banner. It was also announced that the new man at the helm of the first team would be Ted Jones, who steps up after 3 successful seasons as manager of the under-18 side. This appointment looks certain to enable the Lionesses to continue the strategy of developing their own players for the first team, which has worked particularly well for the last 2 seasons. Jason Vincent said, "Working in this joined-up and collaborative manner between coaches and management will help the development across all women's and girls' teams." Millwall Managing Director Mark Fairbrother paid great tribute to the outgoing management and said, "It is disappointing to lose Alex and Adam, and we thank them for their hard work and dedication over their time with the Lionesses. their great performance of the team in last season's FA Cup run being a real highlight, end quote. Alex Russell and Adam Rowland are big-time Millwall fans, and Alex in particular has played a big part in the revival of the Lionesses ever since they suffered an administrative relegation from the FA Women's Championship 5 years ago. Adam Rowland has been with the club for 3 years and has contributed greatly. Ted Jones says, "I am really grateful for this opportunity to lead the team and can't wait to get started. We've got a lot of work to do with the squad and get across some ideas to them and prepare for the Ebbsfleet FA Cup tie on the 22nd of September."
Thanks, Jeff. We wish the Millwall Lionesses and new manager Ted Jones well, as we look forward to them returning to winning ways. It's Maritime Radio, Greenwich Breakfast on Thursday morning. Great to have you with us.
Since Jeff's report, we've had some interviews with Kai Bennett of the Millwall Community Trust, who we thank for sharing these interviews. First up, there was an interview with new Lionesses manager Ted Jones, who we just heard about.
Ted, congratulations on the new role. Firstly, give us your thoughts.
Really looking forward to it. Really exciting opportunity. It's come around quite quickly. Had some positive chats with Sean and Jason. Met the squad on Monday. Seems to be a good reaction so far. Working hard in training, looking to build towards the Ebbsfleet game now.
And you've excelled as Millwall Lionesses under 18 manager. How important is it creating a pathway between academy and first team football?
It's massively important. We've got some really good players coming through the 18s. You know, we've had a lot of success winning league. Cup double a couple of seasons back, and it's really important to promote into our first team. We've now got an under 12s. We want to keep building so that hopefully 5-6 years time these under 12s who are in the team now can push into that first team.
And you mentioned earlier Ebbsfleet is the first game, not this Sunday, the following Sunday. Ebbsfleet at home in the FA Cup here at St Paul's. Firstly, give us your thoughts on it and how important is it to get a big crowd down here to support the girls?
It's massive. I think a massive Millwall crowd always makes a difference. Results haven't been what we want, but we've been working really hard this last couple of sessions. I think we're confident going into the Ebbsfleet game. I think getting that first win under our belts will give us a little bit of confidence to really push on the league, but all fans would love them to come down, as many people as possible, really make a difference here for us.
Thanks, Kai. Great interview there. And he also caught up with Lionesses Jordan Butler and Grace Seeley, and here are their thoughts on the changes and facing Ebbsfleet this Sunday in the Adobe Women's FA Cup.
Jordan, thanks for joining us.
No worries.
Obviously, no game on Sunday, but a big game this Sunday. We'll get to that in a minute. But firstly, how's Ted's first 2 weeks in charge gone from a player's point of view?
Yeah, it's been great to have Ted in. Obviously, Ted's been about it with the youngsters, so he's the face that everyone knows, which is definitely what we need at this moment in time. Obviously, we've got a few players that have come up through the younger age group, so he knows them as players. It's been good for him to learn the older ones, the ones that have been about for a bit. But yeah, he's brought in a good coaching style, really good sessions that he's been putting on, and like you said, we didn't have a game, so we've had a good 2 weeks prep for this big game on Sunday against Ebbsfleet.
And it's an FA Cup game, that means more, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. It gives you the opportunity to play big clubs like further on through the round. So, we've got a tough draw, there's no denying that. There's a couple of teams in our league that have got teams in leagues below, but yes, it's a big game for us, and it's something that we're really going to attack and try and get into the next round.
And it's really important to get a big crowd here at St Paul's, isn't it, as well? Free entry for all, so hopefully people will get themselves down here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a great opportunity for people to just come watch a game of football, which is going to be good. It's good for us to have a good crowd behind us. It's going to be a tough game, like I said, and just that extra 10% from the crowd really makes a difference on the pitch. There's going to be times in the game where we're under the cosh, and just having quite a few people here to gee us up and get us through it really makes a difference. So I'm really hoping that quite a few people make it down, like you said, free for everyone to come in. Great opportunity for youngsters to come and watch a game of football, and yeah, we're just hoping that quite a few people turn up.
Grace, thank you very much for joining us.
Nice.
Obviously, no game on Sunday, but a really big one this Sunday against Ebbsfleet. We'll get to that in a second, but new appointment, Ted Jones has come in, done really, really well with the under-18s. What's it been like first week and a half with him?
Yeah, no, I think firstly, just to say that we're really happy to have Ted with us. We've been watching the 18s from afar for the last 2-3 years, and they've just gone from strength to strength. They're very organised in the way that they play. They know what they're doing on the pitch. They've got a good structure. They keep the ball well. well. All things that I think and I hope that we can start to integrate into our game as well. And I think with Ted's experience of kind of tried and tested for the 18s, I think he can certainly bring on that experience and that way of play into our game, and hopefully we can start building upon that and start getting the results.
Had a big game this weekend in the FA Cup. The FA Cup is such a prestigious competition, isn't it? What does it mean to play in it?
I think it's just like it's huge. It's probably one of the biggest cups that we get to play in. We went very far last year and it really just lifted spirits. It's a great experience to play in such a prestigious cup. The history as well for us as a club, as a female club, we've gone very far in the competitions historically. As I say, last year we had a great run in, and I think that if we can look to do that this year, then I think that will really again lift the mood, lift the spirit, and get us back to playing our better football.
We're hoping for a big crowd down here at St Paul's. A really big crowd, big Millwall crowd always drives the players on, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. We've been meeting with the younger teams over the last couple of weeks, spreading the word about the game, hoping to get as many of them down here to kind of watch on and hopefully inspire them to kind of go on and play in the similar competitions moving forwards. But I think again, going back to the community point, we're doing a lot more to raise awareness of what we're doing, and hopefully we'll get as many fans along to support us on Sunday because it all helps.
Thanks, Kai, and again, thanks for those reports. Next up for the Lions is those Hoops from West London, QPR. They had a torrid season last year, made a great escape in the end, but just staying up in the Championship. This season, they've made a steady start, picking up 6 points so far. The Lions travelled to West London on 4 points, with what have been a bit of a bumpy start for the Lions. How do you think the Lions will get on? I'll start with you, Bethany.
It's hard to say. I think we'll do pretty well. Like you said earlier, it is a bit of a bogey ground for us. I'm not going to be negative. I'm going to have the faith. I think we're going to do very well.
Good. Myles, actually, no, Bethany, I'll do your predictions first before we go on to Myles. So, score for Millwall QPR first, or QPR Millwall, whichever way around you want to say it.
I'm going to go 1-0 to us.
Right. Sunderland Middlesbrough.
I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
Oh, she's going for a Desmond.
Mm-hmm.
And Bristol City Oxford.
I'm going to go 2-1 Bristol City.
Cool. Okie dokie. Myles, over to you. How do you think we get on at QPR? And then some scores for me, please, mate.
Yeah, well, as Bethany said, got to not be negative. I'm going to go with a 1-0 Millwall win away from home, and I'm going to go Japhet Tanganga to score. I'll put that one in there as well.
Put a bet on. You said it. Put a bet on.
Sunderland against Middlesbrough, and a lovely derby. I'm going to go 3-2 to Sunderland. And Bristol City versus Oxford. Oxford away from home. They haven't won. They've lost all 3 games away from home, I believe. So I'm going to go Bristol City 2-0.
Okie dokie. Stan, how do you think we get on at QPR, and your predictions, please, mate?
In terms of score, I mean, I think we can beat them at least 2-1.
Yeah.
So Sunderland Middlesbrough, I think I'll say Middlesbrough will win it 3-2.
3-2.
Please hold Ian Gilliam, wouldn't it?
Stan, sorry, did you say Millwall 2-1?
Yeah. Millwall 2-1.
Yeah. Sunderland Middlesbrough 3-2.
Yeah. And Oxford and who's the other? Oxford and Bristol City.
City are at home.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know what Oxford's record was like, but Bristol City at the moment they normally start off the season quite well, to be fair to them, and then sort of falter a little bit, But I would think that Bristol City will win that game. I would expect. I think it'd be when I say comfortable, I don't mean necessarily a high scoring game. But I don't think they'll ever be in any danger of losing it. Let's put it that way. So I think it would probably be about 2-0, I reckon.
Cool. Okie dokie. Let's hear from Nick Wythe of Millwall in Sicily Facebook site. Supplied us the following predictions.
Hi guys, this is Nick Wythe, and these are my predictions for this Saturday. QPR 2, Millwall 2. Sunderland 1, Middlesbrough 1, and Bristol City 1, Oxford United 2. Hopefully all three of those come in. Cheers, bye.
Thanks, Nick. And Nick gives us our first prediction for Oxford there. So, my predictions, I'm going to go 2-0 to Millwall. Go for faith. Sunderland, Middlesbrough, I'm also going to go 1-1. But I think it will be a high-scoring game at home for Bristol, and I think they're going to beat Oxford 3-0. So, now he's back. Phil Coleman returns with his towels from the boot room.
Hi, former Millwall player here, Phil Coleman. Glad last season's towels from the boot room went down so well, so here's a few more for this season. Hope you enjoyed them. First of all, I'd just like to thank Mike and Rob for their expert guidance and information on the Millwall History and Heritage Tour. A great walk around Docklands, where they told us, along with 30 great fans, some fantastic stories whilst we visited the club's past sites. Great info from Mike and Rob. You got a programme, a few beers in a pub, and a quiz at the end. So if any Millwall fans out there are thinking about it, recommend it. It's well worth doing. So a few stories again. So after the FA Youth Cup triumph in May 1979, we had a trip to Paris as a reward. Then we also had to go off to a Pontin six-a-side tournament. We drove down to Pontins in Weston-super-Mare and stayed there for a few days whilst we played in the tournament. We were clear favourites to win it, as shown by the bookie in his shop right outside the camp who was taking bets on the tournament. We never won a game, but let's just say we had a great break. We had lots of fun. We had a few beers, us youngsters, and when challenged, we told the winning teams who'd beaten us in the tournament that we'd actually won the cup that really mattered. After that, we all came back to the den, and in a short space of time, 13 of that squad had signed professional contracts. All of us played in the first team. So from 13 young schoolboys who signed apprenticeships, won the FA Youth Cup, we all signed pro, all played in the first team. I'm not sure that's ever been done before. I'm not sure it'll ever be done again. My first pro contract followed a crazy 8 days in May 1979 and included that FA Youth Cup winning games. My debut was on the 14th of May against West Ham, and as I've said before, I'm no legend. I didn't play hundreds of games for the club, but to play next to Barry Kitchener on your debut and you beat West Ham 2-1 was a dream. So that was the 14th of May. 2 days later, on the 16th of May, we played Man City away in the first leg of the Youth Cup, and we didn't get back till 5 in the morning. But the very next day, the 17th of May, I played my second professional game against Wrexham and a 2-2 draw, which sadly relegated the club. And then 4 days later, we played that fantastic Youth Cup final at the Den in front of about 10,000, beating Man City 2-0. So my crazy 8 days actually led to George Petchy pulling me in the office. I knew my apprenticeship was up. It was the end of the season. I'd done my 2 years. And so this could go one way or the other. I'd be bombed out or I'd sign pro. I was over the bloody moon when he told me the club wanted to offer me a pro contract. My wages would go up to £70 from £16. I'd signed a little bonus sheet which said £30 for every time I played in the first team and £35 a point. So a draw and 2 points in them days for a win. So if I played in the first team and we had a win, I'd get £100 on top of that 70 quid. And I remember in that little bonus contract that if we got to the FA Cup final, we also got £2,000. So, yeah, you're living dreams. It meant none of those jobs were around the ground. I'd actually have my own apprentice. They would clean my kit and prepare my boots, so I could just focus on training and playing and making myself a better player. And as George Petchy said, go and take that shirt and make it your own. That summer, 79-80, I worked damned hard in the summer. I was off jogging, I was running up the hills in Greenwich Park on my own, and I returned fit to start as a fully fledged professional footballer. I can remember we had the press call, so all the press came in. We had to wear the full first team kit. We had a big team photo, individual photos and questions from the press. And then we trained, and then off to lunch up in the players' room on top of the change rooms, where this time as a pro, I was actually allowed 2 rolls from our lovely Lille. I could go home at 1 o'clock, but the most important thing was I didn't have to do any of those damn jobs. All the best, people. Catch up soon. Bye for now.
Thanks, Phil. And we look forward to hearing your next instalment of Tales from the Boot Room. We will take a break there and hear from Bethany Manktelow, our guest this evening, talking about the Millwall Community Trust.
The Millwall Community Trust, something that I, Bethany Manktelow, admire for all that it does. The Trust was established in 1985, works to provide sporting, education, social and healthy lifestyle opportunities to the local community in Southwark, Lewisham, North Kent and the wider community. Its work is targeted at people of all ages, irrespective of race, gender or sexual orientation, and runs programmes aimed at tackling social exclusion, racism, knife crime, lack of employment opportunities for young people, mental health and disability issues. The Trust aims to be a progressive and campaigning charity that makes a difference to ordinary people's lives. Its work is undeniably essential to the local community. They have sponsorship opportunities to support this work. Email commercial@millwallcommunity.org.uk. I'll say that again. That is email commercial@millwallcommunity.org.uk. Please help if you can.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me, I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Myles Thornton, Stan Godwin, and Bethany Manktelow. Our second guest this evening is a third-generation Millwall fan who has followed in the footsteps of his granddad and father and has followed the Lions for 60 years. His first game was against Torquay in the old 4th Division. That score that day was 2-2, and that was the first of the infamous 59 games which saw the Lions win back-to-back promotions. He currently lives in Medway, but we won't talk about the local club that's just a stone's throw from his house, and currently sits in Block 4. He works as a tour guide, covering tours such as Classic London, James Bond, and Harry Potter, but his favourite is the Millwall History and Heritage Tour, which he leads together with fellow Millwall fan Mike George. Welcome to the show, Rob Woodford.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Gary. Thanks for having me on again, mate. It's always a...
No problem, it's always a pleasure.
Rob.
So, before I hand you over to Bethany, Stan and Myles, the unbeaten 59-match run. I imagine you never thought we'd ever lose a game again, did you?
Obviously, I don't remember too much about it because I was only 8 years old when that started. But obviously, it was a bit special because we got back-to-back promotions as well. You know, we've only ever spent, I think, 5 seasons in Division 4, and that's enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
In our history, and most of the other seasons have been either in the 2nd tier or 3rd tier. But to get to the what was then the 2nd division, I remember that because I can remember the first season of Benny Fenton, and we started to play in a white kit, which has always been my favourite. But it was like we playing in front of big crowds then as well. You know, I know we get record attendances now, but they were pretty decent crowds in the 2nd division when we got there.
Excellent. Bethany, I'll let you go first.
Hi, Rob.
Hi.
So, the Lions have had a very up and down start to our season. How do you think that we are going to fare this season?
Oh, you know, sometimes it's your heart and your head says 2 different things, don't they? You know, every time we get round to August, I always look round for 3 teams we can finish above first. That's the first thing. And I haven't changed my mind about that because it's going to be difficult. I think we had a good transfer window. You know, we had 9 players left after last season and 10 have come in. And I think the quality of the squad has risen. And now all of a sudden we've got some injury problems. So it's never easy, is it? You know, we're playing an uneven playing field in this league. We've got teams that get mega amounts of money. They get the parachute payments, and we've got to try and compete with that. And it's not easy. And in order to finish up the table, we've got to be consistent week after week after week after week. And it's not easy. Well, we beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-0. And, you know, everybody in my group chat was saying we're going to beat Luton 3-0 this and 4-0 that. And you could. It's not going to work like that, is it? Because all right, Luton are a better team than Sheffield Wednesday, but we still got to put that shift in. And to be fair, I think we did. It's just that you're not always going to get the right results, but because of the quality of the opposition we're up against in this league.
Rob, Stan here, mate.
Hello, Stan. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. One of the things we like to ask our guests about is their favourite match whilst watching Millwall. But we don't just want to hear about the match, but your personal build-up as to what made it special for you, mate.
No, I think it was we're talking about build-up. It has to be the Sunderland game in the semi-final because, let's be fair, that was our cup final, really, wasn't it? And that referee, I still have a go at him because he took an age to blow that final whistle. You know what I mean? It was raining at the time, and when he did blow the whistle, did you know the sun came out? It was like a miracle. No, that was my favourite one because we'd already beaten them twice that season, and the bookies had them as favourites. Couldn't get my head around that. I always thought we were favourites, but it's never going to be straightforward, is it, with the calibre of referees?
Rob, just to introduce you to everything there, you're talking about that season. Was that the game when Dennis Wise, and I think this was what carried on into the semi-final, and the bloke who got sent off, can't think of his name, they stood in the middle of the pitch at the Den having a full-on fight. Referee stepped in, pushed them apart, and said, just carry on. If anyone remembers that. And
yeah, I think it was. And that carried over into the semi-final, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Yeah, but no, I can't disagree with you, mate, because that was an amazing day. And I was sat up in the stand opposite the dugouts, and I was looking to my left and saw that clock. I'm sure it was going backwards.
Digital clocks that were above your head, they seemed to take an age to tick over, didn't they?
Yeah.
I tell you what, it's funny you talk about that clock. I was in the stand opposite where they come out from, and we'd gone through the first half, which had gone sort of fairly quick, but because, we get into the second half and we're going along, and all of a sudden I look round at see this clock on the wall, right down the very end. I said to my cousin, I said, we've been playing more than 10 minutes, haven't we? Right? And he said to me, you plank, he said, you know what that is, didn't you? I said, no, what? He said, it's the clock is one of those that counted down.
Oh, no,
right?
I thought you were going to say
that's why it looked like it got stuck. It was counting down, it wasn't going the normal way.
And if you remember that second half, it was pretty much all Sunderland as well, wasn't it? We didn't really, because we had about 3 or 4, I think obviously Muscat went off injured, a couple of other players went off injured, and I think Ifield went off injured as well, didn't he? We were literally down to the bare bones, and Sweeney come on in the last 20 minutes, and we were under the cosh. If you watch that game back, we held on in the end.
We rode our luck a bit, but let's be fair.
Didn't they hit the crossbar as well?
Dickie O should have scored.
Yes, he should have.
They hit the crossbar early on, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
Sometimes
it was after Livermore gave away a free kick on the edge of the box.
Sometimes you just know, didn't you? You're watching a game and you just think, you can sit there and you think they're not going to score, right? And I think it was one of those games where we.
I wish I had your confidence, because it was one of those for me when I thought, this is Millwall, this ain't gonna work out in the end, and luckily it did, didn't it?
All very surreal when you look back.
Very special.
Myles.
Yeah, evening, Rob. You lead the Millwall History and Heritage Tour. How did this come about? Tell me about it some more, and how can Lions fans join future tours?
It came about a while ago because certainly before COVID, because I always wanted to do something, but because of my ordinary job, my day job, if you like, you got to take time out to do a bit more research, and I wanted it to be done properly. I wanted all the research to be done. I've got all the books. I went down to the Island Trust and met a lovely lady called Eve Hostetler that gave me some more information that wasn't available online, and it just built up from there. And Mike and I, we've now done 9 of these, and most all of them have been sellouts. And you know what? The one before the last walk, which was only recently, we took on board a lot of the feedback we were getting. And Stan, you you were one of those that said to me, this is great, but it was just a little bit long that day. All right. So we've taken that on board and we've changed it. We changed the route. So we now finish down at the Lord Nelson and not at the George. So we're going in a more of a straightforward, much more time efficient way. It was a little bit different, the one that you did, Stan, because you had with the photographer as well that day. We had Graham Tonks, and also we got off to a very late start. But we took all the feedback on board, and now we've designed it so that it's much more time efficient. And the last one was very well received, and we were very well received, by the way, in the Lord Nelson pub. The landlady there, customer friendly, and she's looking forward to us coming back again on the 12th of October next time. And as always, they are in international break, so you're not going to miss the Lions. It's Saturday, the 12th of October, the next one. There's a few tickets left, so tap that into the Eventbrite engine and we'll come up. And we've also got a TripAdvisor account now, which is helping us to move up the rankings of London tours. We're just outside the top 500 out of 2,500 London tours. And that's just based on 16 5-star reviews. So we're really proud about that.
I mean, I went on that tour, and and it was a real eye opener. I mean, I have to say that, and it was excellent. I mean, so and anyone who ain't been on that tour and who think they could go on this one in did you say October, Rob?
October the 12th, yeah. Next
yeah. Well, if they can, they want to get their finger out and make sure they book to get on the tour, because it's well worth it. Well worth it. It's a real eye.
One of the recent tours, we had the grandson of Tony Joyce, former Millwall goalkeeper, and it was quite an emotional moment for this chap because his grandfather actually played on the island as well as at Coldblow Lane, and it was we were proud and privileged to have the grandson of Tiny Joyce. That's and we had Phil on the last tour. Got some great stories, Phil. Tales from the boot room. And we got Paul Moody on the next one. So we're always trying to have a special guest if we can, and Mike's pulled out all the stops. He's managed to get Paul Moody for us. So that'd be good fun as well.
What a great guest. I love Paul. I've interviewed him a couple of times on here, and he's very informative, and he's also good with the mental health situation as well. So that would be a good chat to have along the way.
No, that's good to hear. I used to love the way when he scored a goal, when he used to stand there and all the young kids jumped on top of him. And it reminded me of that, when Cooper scored last week and everybody jumped on top of him. It's just, It reminded me of the time when Paul Moody was just like, he's a giant of a guy, wasn't he, really? We don't get old-fashioned centre-forward so much now. I mean, he was the last real old-fashioned centre-forward we had was probably Darius Henderson, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's hope this new lad from Serbia will fill the role. Before I say goodbye,
let's hope he can put his shoes on and tie his shoelaces.
Well, yes, that'd be a start. Actually walk onto the pitch. Before we move on, Rob, I just want to get some predictions for you. We do the prediction game again now. Don't know if you've heard it in the past. Obviously, First up, Millwall QPR. What do you think will be your score for that game?
Yeah, I've gone for 1-1.
1-1?
We don't often get a result there, do we?
No, we don't.
It's a bit of a bogey team for us over there anyway. And as much as I'd love the 3 points, I'd be happy with a point, actually.
Fair enough. Sunderland Borough?
That's a bit of a derby, isn't it?
Yeah.
I could sit on the fence and say 1-1 and get splinters on my arse, but I'm going for 1-1.
Fair enough. And then Bristol City v Oxford.
Yeah, Oxford have got off to a good start, but the bubble will burst soon, and Bristol City are a mid-table side, aren't they? So 2-1 to Bristol City.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Rob, absolute pleasure. I will personally try and get on one of your tours soon. I don't know if it'll be this year, but probably definitely next. And I want to go on there because I want to hear more about the Isle of Dogs side of the club, etc. And I look forward to hearing and meeting you in person as well. So
now the pleasure was all mine tonight, as ever. Thank you so much for inviting me on. The next tour after this one will be in March, but we'll release that date.
Lovely. Sounds better. I might get it around my birthday then, and Mum take me and the boy up around the birthday. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Rob.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Rob. Thank you.
Stan, Myles, Bethany.
Cheers,
Good night.
Bye.
Cheers. Take care, guys.
We will take a break there and listen to Bethany again.
Hi, it's Bethany Manktelow. Why not come and join me as another Millwall supporting woman and become part of the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking team? You can be a panellist or a host. You could even do match reporting on the radio for the first team, Millwall Lionesses, or community matters. The team will help you to broadcast effectively. Come and join us by emailing me at nolutalkin@gmail.com. I'll say that again. Email me on nolutalkin@gmail.com.
Thanks, Bethany. And we all look forward to our next game against QPR over there at Loftus Road. But in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans and those interested in football.
Millwall Lionesses host Ebbsfleet United women at the St Paul's Sports Ground, Rotherhithe, in the second qualifying round of the Adobe Women's FA Cup. Kick-off is at 1:30pm on Sunday. Former FA Cup winners Millwall Lionesses need your support to reach the next round. Join the crowd and roar them on to victory.
Next week, the panel of Gary, Dave and myself will be hosted by Bethany Manktelow with a couple of guests and plenty of thoughts, laughs and Millwall news.
On Saturday morning, Bermondsey Town have a very early 10:45 kickoff versus Hammersmith B team in the London Junior Cup. And then obviously at 12:30, Millwall kickoff against QPR. If you didn't get a ticket, then why not come down and watch the Bermondsey Town game, go to the bar afterwards, have a drink in there and watch the Millwall game. After that even, Fisher FC take on FC Elmstead at 3pm. Bar and food, as I said, available all day long. For the Fisher game, bring your season tickets for reduced entry prices. And for Bermondsey Town, it's free entry.
Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes a Talking team bring reports from our games both home and away for the Lions, Lionesses, Romans and Pride, and also updates from Millwall Community Matters on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram and all popular podcast sites. Thanks, Myles.
Thank you, Gary. Good night, Ron.
Thank you, Stan.
Yeah, thanks, Gary.
And thank you, Bethany.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys, and thank you all for listening. Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Good night, one and all.
Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by G&M Motors of Gravesend, Honda dealers and much more. Thank you.